Hello YouTube. So actually see my face this time. Um, so you may have noticed some past few videos I've been uploading. I've been working on porting some classic game engines to the PlayStation 2. And to start off with, I'll show you. I first started doing. Gonna change 3 to where was it? Nope. There we go. Um, So first started porting Doom, well, trying to work on a port of Doom to PS2. First started quite a few years ago. I found it. So yeah, my GitHub has just loads of projects I worked on. Some forks, some are just dog shit. Anyway, so got Doom Generic PS2, PS2 Doom. So let's start off with see if what be oldest Doom. Okay. So this one I did, 4 years ago. Back when I don't know, was it 22 or something? Yeah. So I didn't really. It wasn't really going anywhere. Basically, put it that way. It was all just a bit of a hack job. It didn't have working sound effects. No, it had working sound effects maybe, or it had no sound at all. Certainly no music. Some old archaic like bits rot because of a SDK. The PS2 SDK has changed a lot in 20 years. Um, there's a finicky, shall we say, port of POSIX like Nudib to the PS2 SDK, but realised, go with tried and true trusted file XIO route, which is what I'm doing now. PCSX2 Doom. Kind of looks like a D. Anyway, stretch. So Doom generic PS2. This is how I first started, kind of. So if you don't know Doom generic, this guy made it. ZKR. Started off with Doom just running in a simple frame buffer on Linux, like minimal dependencies, signal and spectrum analyzer, an OS, desktop Linux frame buffer, and this uses it's just for stubs basically, pretty much. But it's stupid easy to support. It's running on Windows, X11, got more X11, FreeBSD, and SDL. And for example, if I start off with my operating system I made. Okay, my phone has died. Never mind. I'm hoping you can still hear me anyway. Where'd I go? Okay. So if I go main, run ISO clean boot, like so. It's compiling my entire operating system I built. Which actually I'll show you the GitHub anyway. So yeah, this is it. It's a big ass project. I've got, simple frame buffer, VGA text console, hardware info, and as a basic GUI with an X11 style, it's got X server, Windows other clients and everything. What else? So here's the operating system and grub, and let it boots up. As you can see there. So if I go Doom, I'm going to change that to I'm Too Young to Die, of course. New game, just to share a WOD, and you shall see. No sound at the minute, but I used Doom generic as a base start. Not using SDL, just plain VGA, and it's kind of being rerouted into the X11 window. As you can see, it's running at full speed. No sound, of course, or music. Yeah, quickly do E1M1. Ba ba bang. So of course, like, you know, it's people and everyone and their mum have been porting Doom to whatever devices they can get their hands on, pretty much. You know, ba ba bum ba bum. There we go. And you know, so ported into my operating system, pretty cool. I also got other things like if I go google.com, Google, or so on BBC News, BBC News, and it's crashed. Yep, still a lot of bugs to work out. But anyway, so I started off porting Doom from here to my operating system, and I realised, okay, if I can do that on a whole ass operating system with toolchain, tell you what, I'll get the camera back up so you can actually see my face as I'm talking. Let's see, okay, phone link, let's get OBS Studio back up. Properties, try again, fingers crossed, one can only hope. There we go, okay, let's bring it back. Where was I? So yeah, Doom working on the OS, and so what I just wanted to do is, for example, if I get the repository up, first off, especially in the OS version of Doom, I embedded the shower WAD file for the first episode in as a seed array into the ELF file, so it would just start off with, you know, for example, PCSX2. I have a lot of tabs open, like a lot of tabs. Start file. Where do I want to go? Downloads. Doom. Let's go stable. I think this is the DOS-like renderer. If it loads. Gonna find out if it actually will work or not. Probably not. Oh, here we go. So it's got iWAD using the embedded sharer WAD. Yes. Whoa, okay. So yeah, as you can see, it's certainly Doom. Let me get music. Turn it down a bit, so I can hear myself. That's better. Anyway, this is like proper DOS Doom. Yeah, there's still some issues with controls in this version, but even getting audio was a bit of a challenge. So the PS2 can kind of emulate OPL3 AdLib, but it's in ADPCM 22.5, no, 22.05 kilohertz format. So there is going to be compression, bit lossy or whatever, but on the whole, it works fairly well. And so, yeah, I've got it, you know, pretty well optimized just south of 60 FPS. If I go shut down, yes, start file. Where do I want to go? What's the most latest? PS2. There we go. I've been working on Quake capacity days. So the HUD, buggering hell, okay. Build embed 1. So the HUD is rendered in as a, what do you call it? It's kind of drawn on top of the main 3D or 2.5D buffer behind it. So I'm hoping this one looks better. Okay, here we go. Yep, GSKit, CDFS, sigil up, OPL. So yeah, I've started also trying to get as close to the raw hardware as I can, but as you'll hear in a sec, yep, that's fine. So yeah, I've got the log for proof, but it is actually running. I'm not doing some weird video trickery, AI bullshit, splicing or anything. This is okay. What's happened there? There we go. See, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's not by no means perfect. This is kind of like, so sound effects work, but music, like raw general MIDI emulation, is just kind of dreadful. Yep, there we go. Can I get it? There we go. There we go. Okay. So, I saw this going on, but I knew I wanted to get proper rendering, high resolution, like twice as scaled up. So we go, P-Word, Sigil, Compat. Also got P-Word support working. Yeah, boy. I think even Doom 2 works, so I have, removed some of the limits. Yep, remove that, jump, then press play. Okay, reset. Don't know what's going on now. Let's find out. So yeah, there's still some, a little bit of issues I need to work out here on the ISO, but I'll show you the proper rendered Doom. I want to go PSXX2, PS2.elf, I believe this one is correct. This one uses so the PS2's hardware is completely mental. You've got the Emotion Engine, you've got graphics synthesizer, you've got a whole PS1 in there, so it's technically two computers rolled into one with a DMA bus. So yeah, it's miles higher, better resolution. It's like I actually capped it at 30 FPS. Don't ask me why. I just wanted to. It was fluctuating a lot anyway. So here we go. As you can see, it's a sight, bloody damn sight better than it was before. I can, let's see, sound volume. Yeah, still some. I haven't quite got the mix perfect yet, but it is damn well bloody good. And it's this isn't even hardware accelerated. This is still software rendered using the Motion engine. Oops. There we go. So yeah, I don't know why it still says copyright my name. Lots of bugs I need to work out, but you know, the main engine itself is running flawlessly almost. 100%. Yep. Next mission. Look at that. You know, it's clearly capped at 30 because it's like 29.9896. Let's go. There we go. Goes pickups. So this is the state of Doom as it is at the minute. I don't know why it's drawn on top of the hood. Lots of bug fixes still. There we go. Got a little secret there. There we go. I'm just gonna, you know, breeze through this quickly. And there you go. So this isn't even hardware rendered at all, you know, there's no polygons being drawn, really. Or actually using a vector unit rather, to do any heavy lifting. It's completely software based. And then, you know, once I did that, I started doing some more. So if I go downloads, Doom, GLM2, you'll see how I started off trying to get, you know, actually using a vector unit. It does take a little while to boot. New game. This one doesn't even work. Okay, never mind. Yeah, quite a few issues. But, you know, I got that working, so I figured, okay, Duke Nukem 3D, the build engine is almost, you know, exactly the same. So, let's see what I can do about Duke engine. Duke proved to be quite a bit of a struggle because I first started using Duke. Oh, which engine was it? Engine Duke 3D. So I don't know if it was this or what exactly I used, but it was enough to, you know, just get the graphics rendered anyway. You know, the intro screen and stuff. So if I go, let's see, PS2. Just make sure I'm still, yep, okay. Sanity check. Jeff Duke 3D, here we go. So this was the engine I first started off, yep. Ken Silverman contributed to it. Bloody solid engine. It did prove to be a bit of a struggle trying to find something that's still actually maintained in, you know, 2026. 5 months ago, it's, you know, very modern still. So I did that, and been writing the documentation, you know. So we've got launch.ulf, Duke game, build engine, file.io, SFX and OPL music to the audio server, SDL, you know, it does, I'm gonna try and cut out the SDL middleman, and yeah, a whole lot of documentation and everything. And I'll show you, let's get it booted. I'm gonna see about log window. PS2. Now this is running really nicely, I think. And even then it's software rendered, it's not using the actual hardware at all. Yeah, there's still some. Do you know why music's not working at the minute? Let's see now. Shut down. Start file. PS2, perhaps? This is from a few days ago now, so this might be the one. 480p, 60 FPS, yep. Start. See. Music. There we go. Not the loudest, but look at it go. New game, piece of cake. And you'll see the FPS, it's actually like quite impressive to be fair. Yeah, I've had to stub out because at the minute all the music was stored like on CD or something. It was kind of weird. Controls aren't, you know, the best at the minute, but look at that. It's completely software rendered and running, you know. Sticks are too sensitive, so let's see if we can do anything about that. Dead zones. Too much for me to sort out right now. Yep, that's all fine. New game. Boom. Oh, because the controls aren't really finalised very well in this. There's still some work to do. There we go. See if I can get up here. Yeah, oh, I didn't realise I jumped working. Okay. So as you can see, it's definitely like actually rendered on the PS2. Secret players. I've got a bit of stick drift on my Xbox controller potentially. Oh no, it's fine. Okay, weird. There we go. Enough of that anyway. So yeah, just really expect a launcher here anyway. So yeah, that was all fine and dandy. You know, incredible progress just being able to get a native port of Duke Nukem 3D and a fairly decent Doom to the PS2. And there's one game, you know, when I got Duke running, you know, bloody good FPS, I was like, okay, well, this is all fine, but there were ports of Quake 3, you know, God of War, proper like AAA titles on the PS2, really well optimized, you know, running flawlessly. Why don't we do Quake? This is where I've gone down a huge rabbit hole. So let's go there, file, Quake, I think. We'll see if this is a one. Yep, that's Quake. Now this is software rendered. Oh, no. You weren't supposed to see that. You were not supposed to see that. Let's see. Quake. Hoping this is the right one. Yeah. So this is Quake software rendered. Let me turn the volume down. No idea how to do that. Yeah, it's crazy loud every minute. And, you know, it was... No matter what I tried to throw at it, you know, trying to offload stuff onto the vector units, you know, whether it's the HUD, whether it's, you know, sprites or whatever, I could just never get it above, you know, a decent FPS. I mean, yeah, it's incredible that it's a native port running at all, but it wasn't quite how I wanted it. So then I fell down a rabbit hole. Had a look at, you know, other engines, homebrew engines. You know, there's Tyro engine. Looking out like OPL draws using the graphics synthesizer and other things. Okay. So yeah, it's running, I suppose you could say, but not quite taking advantage of the PS2 hardware. So, the clip you just saw before was my start of a, what do you call it, hardware rendered engine, and you'll see it just wasn't looking good. You know, you can just about make out, you know, walls. It's not got textures, the clippings all over the place. I'm pretty sure the camera was like back to front as well, so you actually eyes on the back of your head, you know, as one Discorder quite rightly said. And yeah, I just could not figure out for the life of me. You know, I'm not a game designer, developer at all. As you see from my last videos, I'm a low-level hardware engineer and developer. You know, it's Raspberry Pis, Amiga, you know, single board computers, that sort of stuff. I don't really have the first idea on what the hell I'm trying to do. And, you know, music and sound effects working. Now, the music and sound effects were quite interesting to get working. You know, all the sound effects are WAV files, but the music, like I said with Doom, because it's let me get a picture of the. I think this is it. Is the graph here? Not quite. PS2 architecture. So it is, you know, just to help give a visual representation. Off the top of my head, so your I/O subsystem, you know, 2 megabytes of RAM of EDO dynamic RAM and I/O processor. That's what handles, you know, USB ports, your iLink, FireWire, DualShock 2, and Magic 8 memory cards, and you know, stuff I think like DVD, PC card slot for those weird PS2s. My fat PS2 has a network adapter card with you know, Ethernet jack, and I've got a SATA hard drive in it. And so yeah, the main motion engine is where the magic happens, right? I've got MIPS, SGI, I think it's SGI, I can't remember. So yeah, Silicon Graphics CPU basically. Memory interface, I've only got 32 megabytes of RAM as well, so it's about on par with a, you know, 486 or something, or Pentium MMX rather. I think 486. Like mine's only got 16 megabytes of RAM. Dual channel, 16-bit, 400 megahertz. Tiny for very late 90s. The PS2 was released before I was born. I was born in 2000, so just about the right time. With the Emotion Engine, you've got two vector processing units. Um, VU0 is heavily tied to the CPU. It just has scale operations, just a real sub-processor, accelerator basically for vectors, uh, polygons and stuff. And then VU1, that's closely tied to the graphics interface, which sends it to the right format that the graphics synthesizer is wanting. The graphics synthesizer literally just puts stuff on the screen. It's not really a GPU. It just gives you a frame buffer, allows you to send the pixels and data directly from the GIF to the GS and to your CRT, HDMI TV. I'm using an HDMI to PS2 adapter, so it's YPBPR component analog. System interface, so here you've got to load modules for DualShock 2, Magic 8 memory cards, USB, iLink. You load modules to the IO processor, which is literally just an embedded PlayStation 1. That's what gives you original PlayStation CPU is a MIPS R3000A, backwards compatibility with PS1 games. Automatically underclocked when playing PlayStation games, but when it's anyway, on later PS2s uses a PowerPC Decade IOP, so it's kind of emulating. PS1 games don't run as great, if that well at all, on latest PS2 Slims. Thankfully, my PS2 Slim and my fat PS2 were long before that model. Mine's a 7003, so PAL region 7000. It still has an actual MIPS R3000A. But anyway, back to where I was. The way, so all file I/O, whether you're reading from CDFS, memory card, USB, hard drive, or Ethernet, you're using remote procedurals. Using the modules that you've loaded into RAM, you're going to reset the IO processor. Sometimes it's a bit finicky, because of course, the PS2 doesn't quite have an operating system. It's got the BIOS, which 4 megabyte BIOS RAM. It's got limited amount of basic IO and entry points and stuff. It's basically a supercomputer. You've got one MIPS of 59000 base CPU, with some 64-bit extensions. The IO processor is literally just a PS1 CPU. And then we've got DMA, which helps moving data between the VUs, GIF, memory interface, and all that fun stuff. So just getting everything working nicely. Getting it working in PCSX2 is one thing, but getting it running on real hardware is just proving to be an absolute challenge. But I'm all for it, There you go. Now, the past few days, I've actually made amazing progress on getting Quake running. So we go Quake, hardware. So this is just from about an hour ago. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, but I'm fucking dedicated. This is actually using the vector units. Everything's actually using the hardware to render. I haven't got lighting or all textures properly set up yet. It's proven to be a bit of a pain, make sure textures are mapped from, the pack file into, there should be a switch into, in that, the crusher's coming down, but there you go. So it's nice to have a good demo running anyway so far. Getting, I don't know what was, getting textures properly mapped to entities and getting the gun, the gun's by no means complete yet. There's probably some big mistakes being made. MVG reference. Big up. So yeah, you'll see. There you go, and then we'll jump down. Gold key. Door's not properly rendered yet. I'm pretty sure the floor textures need a bit of work. Gold key. Oh, rocket launcher. Boom. So yeah, it's running 50 FPS on a good day, 25 if it needs to do some, it's kind of dynamic, I think. Let's see. Oh, it's actually a playable one. That's good. So here we go. So yeah, there's quite a bit of work still. Visualize the window thing. You're supposed to have a portal texture here. Obviously, it works. And here you go. Loading. I'm not very good. Again, similar issue as Duke Nukem 3D. Controls aren't quite as good as I want them to be. It's way too sensitive. But I have the hardest time is getting those button textures mapped because they're kind of like offset, kind of wrapped around each other. Not very good. And as you can see, I haven't got any skyboxes, no water rendering, or shadows even. There's a lot of work still to do. But I think I've got the hardest bit of work done, which is, that's actually surprisingly good, Oh, well, what the hell was that? Okay. There we go. There we go. Secret area. There we go. Ooh. What I'm interested is, can I make it up there into that secret area? Let me get this guy first. And where do I go? I jump here or something, don't I? It's been a long time since I played Quake properly. Okay. Secret area. No idea what I got, but oh well. Yeah, no floor textures, so toxic water, toxic sludge isn't rendered at the minute. That's looking alright, that's good. And then, oh, 9 out of 10 kills. It's proven to be quite a challenge. So we go save. I know I gotta actually be in a mission. Save. There we go. Okay. Now, if I quit and go to the OSD system, we actually have a save icon and an actual save process. Ignore those from old builds, which, get the headers right, offsets and reserved fields and stuff, it was a big challenge. And then of course it's getting the actual, because even just that is a texture, For PS2 it's insane, web developers these days are lucky they've got all the libraries and frameworks they need, OpenGL, SDL and everything. PS2, you have to do everything completely by hand yourself, basically. So, getting that working was alright. I did use Tuniox PostGator for just to get an idea of what a icon would look like, use a hex editor, see what fields correspond with what bits. Not had a big look at the SDK docs, just looking at, C headers, libraries, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think that's basically where I'm at with these three projects. I've got PS2 Doom, as you saw, no, not PS2 Doom, the correct one is PS2. There we go. Yeah, lots of docs. Got some mermaid diagrams if you want to know. Power on, you get that set menu where you choose your iWAD, PWAD, music, renderer, video, jump. Because actual rendering mode is baked into the motion engine, but then how you want that being sent to the TV, the output resolution, the graphics synthesizer deals with that for you. So yeah, the SDL doing, but it's still at 320 by 200. GS kit 640 by 400, still high res compared to the original. Twice the resolution. DMGL, this is where it's going to get interesting. So, what I've got working on Quake, I'm going to start downporting first to Doom, and then get Duke 3D rewritten on the new engine. I'm going to go with Doom first because it's id Software. Doom is like, the de facto porting game. So yeah, a bit of memory card, read and writes, controller settings read by the set menu. We're going to have remapping, so, this is the default layout at the minute. Bog standard, left stick, right stick, R2 fire, L2 to run, cycling weapons, jump if enabled, start select with an auto map, SPU 2, so it's the sound processing unit, it's dual core, so you can have SFX and music, both running at the same time. That's, chip tune-ish rendering, that's what we had before. Here you build arguments, WODs, provide your own because I don't want to get into legal trouble. And yeah, GNU GPL version 2, so do it to your heart's content, mate. And one thing I did really love is ISR apps. Here we go. So this has been now ported to the Namco System 246, which is basically a PS2 in arcade form with jammer connector, better, I think more RAM, more VRAM, proper arcade hardware improvements. And so ISR is made a lot of changes, really good. He's fixed some module loading because, as I said, getting it running on real hardware was just an absolute challenge. But it is running. You'll see it run like so. It's actually like, anyway, it's coming along quite nicely, I think. And now that I've got Quake rendered using a VAX unit hardware, possibilities are endless now. Now there's one thing I wanted to show you, is this is my surprise for you. There we go, so I'm on my real PS2 now. There we go. Okay, your wrong controller. I need my actual PS2 controller here. Go file browser. So W launch ELF. Go to USB stick. PS2. PS2 Quake still has some cobalt to do. Duke 3D is going to be a huge challenge going back on real hardware. PS2 was easy because I was able to embed the shareware WAD, but as you'll see in just a sec, we are running on real authentic hardware. I'll turn my camera around to show, but you'll have to forgive me, it's a bit challenged right now. Yeah, I'm not very good at gaming these days. More of a coder, so keyboard and mouse are my go-to. USB support is planned. So there you go. I haven't got saving and loading yet, but I've got it working in Quake, so that'll be a piece of cake. There we go. But again, don't forget, this is completely just software rendered, running on a stock fat PS2. You know, a slim PS2 might actually run better because, you know, it's more integrated. I think the emotion engine and the graphics synthesizer are rolled into one chip. You know, it's going to be less hot, just potentially run better, even if it's like micro frames or whatever, subframes. There you go. Like so. Yeah, it's bloody good, mate. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now with things. Now is a sneak peek. It's FreeMuck boot running off a real PS2. No FreeMuck boot. No PCSX2 rather. Anywhere here. So let's see. Go to mouse. PS2 Quake. This isn't, very beta release, but just to show it will be running on real hardware soon. It's got to stream everything from USB sticks, so things will be a bit slow here and there. And yeah, it crashed here. But the sound is still running in the background, so it's not a total crash because the music is in a different thread. It's, multi-threading anyway. Yeah, so we're making good progress with things all in all, and I'm excited for what's to come. So I'll add links to the description down below, links to the GitHub repository. I'll probably start uploading some builds of, each major milestone I make. And yeah, make sure to get subscribed and spread the word. PS2 Doom. Doom is finally coming to the PS2 because there's been like ports of it out in the wild for, let's see, PS2 Doom. So yeah, it's saying okay, there have been ports of it, but it's not brilliant. There's no.
So that came with all of the 4 episodes. I was not.
There's no music. Uh, FPS is alright, I think. You know, it's definitely playable, but you want for that full, you know, immersive experience of it, you know, being a native actual engine. Um, yeah, no Doom for the PS2. Well, not anymore. It's here. Um, so yeah. Oh, I just realised I don't have anything on the screen, man. Here we go. So yeah, as you can see, there have been builds of it before, but no builds ever had music, sound effects, keyboard support for mods, you know, limits being removed so we can get sigil, and even nuts worked. Ah, I didn't show you nuts. Um, let me think. PCSX2. This you'll be quite amused by, I think. Start file. And I actually did get this working on real hardware briefly. Is that the one? It's from a few days ago now. Because I've been working on Quake full time the past few days. There we go. Nuts. Yep, yep. Will this work? Don't know if it'll work. I'm hoping so. I've not actually tried it on GSKit renderer, so it might not. Yeah, TLB misses. Translation layer buffer, I think it's some weird shenanigans anyway. Tell you what, let's try it on the SDL renderer. Doom 2, nuts, SDL2. Oh. Hoping this is the right one. Looks like it might be. We're about to find out. Ouch. Yep, it's working. Come on. Give it a second because it is, you know. I do approve. Mind you, can watch on one of the last few videos I did. I showed nuts actually loading in a keyboard. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work for this time around, annoyingly. But the possibilities are endless. We're actually getting proper native builds of Doom, properly utilising the hardware. It's going really good, I think, so make sure you stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Bye.